IBM Hyperledger Fabric billions for Stellar XLM in terms of on and off ramps, if it can tap into it. Can it tap into it? We know that Stellar are using MoneyGram with the stablecoin USDC, which is actually on the Stellar network, and you can trade in and out of USDC. It could be used as an on and off ramp through MoneyGram, and I believe they're aiming to get all 4,000 stores where you could pay in cash to get into crypto. But this video is about IBM and what was IBM WorldWire, but what is now IBM Hyperfabric. Let's check this video out. Nathan, how can it integrate? Stellar, IBM. Thank you, Nathan. So this is a post by Sachinjan. Sachinja. Hope I'm not butchering your name, sir. It was back in 24th September 2008. It's almost 4 years ago now. Excuse me. Leveraging Stellar for settling transactions on Hyperledger Fabric Network, Part 1. So it's a simple question. What are Hyperledger Fabric and Stellar? Hyperledger Fabric is a private permissioned blockchain network technology which has become quite popular and is being used in a number of production networks, looking to create a shared ledger or a common view of digital assets presenting real-world physical assets and the transactions related to them. If you want to read more, boom, go on. Start with the official page. 2. Set up a network and install simple smart contracts. You can also look at IBM blockchain platforms. Okay, Stellar is a public permissionless distributed ledger technology which facilitates low-cost payments, leveraging a native cryptocurrency, XLM, or digital assets issued by different anchors, participating organizations which use digital assets. While all organizations like MTO are, or a bank, or even an individual can become an anchor and issue assets which are like IOUs, the assets will be used for trading until the involved participants trust the issuer of the asset and its ability to honor the IOUs. While these assets can be anything, most of the times they present cash deposits that the anchor maintains in a given fiat currency. Such an asset is often referred to as a stablecoin, since its value is pegged to a fiat currency like USD, like Euro, etc., which would usually have much little fluctuation as compared to a cryptocurrency. Stellar also provides a distributed exchange to facilitate trades in the anchor assets and lumens. Another important attribute of Stellar is that while anyone can join a network, financial organizations can choose to transact with specific organizations whom they trust and can obtain proof of the AML. Anti-money laundering checks performed by the organization before onboarding an end user as their customer. So it's not a disintermediating technology and allows banks and financial institutions to work within the regulatory framework while making the payment process more efficient for their customers. A case for integration between Hyperledger Fabric and Stellar. Hyperledger Fabric is a private network, and so if there are transactions which require proof of payment before the asset can be transferred, it's not a straightforward process. There are a few options as listed below. In the smart contracts, create an asset definition for contract coin or contract token. For example, for a smart contract dealing with energy exchange, the asset can be called energy coin. Have one or more banks as part of the network and let them act as token issuers. The banks can help convert real currency and issue equivalent amounts of tokens on the network to a participant and vice versa. But the problem with this approach is that the token is restricted to this network alone, and the bank needs to be involved every time a participant wants to convert the token into real cash and use it somewhere else. Another approach is to use public network like Stellar in the following ways: to use a public network like Stellar to make the payments against data stored and agreed upon on the Hyperledger Fabric network, verify that the payment has been made by invoking the Stellar APIs in the Fabric smart contract, and then complete the asset transfer as agreed upon in the Fabric network. With this approach, the tokens received via payments on Stellar network can be deployed to use as deemed fit. Moreover, with federal issued stablecoins such as Stronghold USD or Centers USDC available these days, end users can transact in these digital assets on Stellar with much more confidence. A quick tip: as you may or may not know, IBM uses Hyperledger Fabric, which you can acquire IBM stock. If you're interested in stocks and shares, down below in the link down below, please use it. Both you and I will earn £100 worth of shares each. You could trade that within your ISA, which means that you could trade up to 21,000, as I know, as of today, 20,000, per year, every year, without incurring any capital gains tax. And I also focus on dividends paying stocks and shares like IBM, like AT&T, like ExxonMobil. They pay you a dividend. You could trade them within your ISA. Think about that. Back to IBM. Nathan, take it away. So, how to achieve this integration between Hyperledger Fabric and Stellar? At a high level, Stellar provides SDKs as well as REST APIs to interact with the network. You understand that? Stellar provides SDKs as well as REST APIs to interact with the network. All transactions need to be signed by authorized parties, and payments made to an account can be verified by anyone who has access to the network and the account ID. Fabric smart contracts can be used to record proprietary and private information related to the use case, along with the agreement between parties on the amount to be paid for a particular transaction. Stellar API for payment can be invoked off-chain, and verification of this payment or any reconciliation required can be done as part of the Fabric smart contract by using Stellar's API. To understand this better, let's consider Hyperledger Fabric based on smart contracts for marbles, which can be easily deployed on any Fabric network or on IBM Blockchain Start Plan. Please go to the link above to understand what this smart contract is about. So we will look at that link and understand what the smart contract is about. The Hyperledger smart contract, can it link with Stellar as an on and off ramp for banks? Yeah? Okay, if we want to build a workflow to transfer marbles from buyer to seller based on an agreed upon price for the transfer, then these are the modifications which will be required in the smart contract and the client application to make the payment and verify the payment. Modify the owner structure to include the Stellar account address of the person. Add a structure of type offer to hold all the offers to buy marbles on sell, and for seller to accept or reject the offer. 3. Once the offer has been accepted and recorded on the Fabric network, the buyer can initiate payment from the client side app, leveraging the Stellar APIs for making a payment. Payment API has fields for configuring the account address of sender, receiver, amount, and memo. The memo field can be used to set the offer ID against which the payment is being made. Relevant code can be found right here in that specific link. Once the buyer gets a transaction complete message from Stellar, he can invoke Fabric smart contract methods indicating the completion of transaction for a given offer. The Fabric smart contract method can check the transaction details using Stellar APIs and match the sender receiver amount and memo fields with corresponding values in offer before completing the transfer from seller to buyer as per offer. Relevant code can be found. Ledger Go. There you go. Ledger Go. Payment complete against offer. Sample code showing use of native currency lumens, but as APIs can be used for any other anchor asset as well, although we cannot achieve atomic swap yet, which we can achieve now. This approach is close to it, since once the offer has been accepted in Fabric Network and payment has been done on Stellar, there is no going back. Fabric Network smart contracts will ensure the required transfer happens, while the final code with all the modifications in smart contract and client side related to Stellar only can be found here in that link. You can also go to part 2 in this series for detailed explanation of the steps and APIs used to achieve this. So there you go. So as you can see, leveraging Stellar for transaction finality on Hyperledger Fabric seems like a possibility. It's an old post, but I think we're going to need to have another video to take a deeper dive into that, check out the code, see if it is actually still relevant, because as we know, Stellar isn't actually seeming like it's not in a partnership with IBM WorldWire anymore. IBM WorldWire use Linux Foundation Hyperledger Fabric, which is like a closed community. It's not open to the public, but I think if they want to do transactions, I think there is some integration that can happen between companies and banks, and potentially we could be seeing some on-off ramps for this. But let's take a deeper dive and find out. Not making any assumptions at the moment. It's not a big deal, but it's worth investigating. Anyway, I'm Nathan, aka Nathan of Zion. Please like, subscribe. Thank you for watching my channel, my Zionistas, my wolves, my pride, and I will see you in the next one. And check out this next video. It should be an IBM video. Have a great day now.